Welcome to the 5th Annual Superintendent's State of the Schools Address and Superintendent's Luncheon. I am Tracy Chapelier Thomas, Coordinator of Human Resources, and I am honored to be here with you today. This year, we have been flexible in figuring out creative ways to maintain normalcy and seek solace in the things that we have always done. We felt that it was important to uphold our annual tradition of the Superintendent's Luncheon, even though it may look and feel different. Yearly, this event is a critical fundraiser for the Calvert County School Foundation Grant. The purpose of the grant is to provide additional funding opportunities for staff in the community to continue to improve the quality of education provided by Calvert County Public Schools. This is achieved by strengthening creativity, critical thinking, and by engaging students and staff in the learning process. We are also able to recognize employees for their service and contributions to Calvert County Public Schools and to the community through this foundation. I could not be more grateful to our community and business sponsorships that continue to support our teachers, our schools, and our students. This year, we have partnered with local businesses to create the Calvert Fresh Box that is packed with locally sourced foods, herbs, produce, and desserts. Our Culinary Arts students, led by Chef Carl Hilly, will demonstrate how to cook the contents of the Calvert Fresh Box throughout this presentation. Inez Claggett is president of the Calvert County Board of Education and brings with her extensive knowledge in public service, auditing, budgeting, and internal controls and policy development. She has been a public servant for over 10 years and currently serves as the Director of Finance for a local legislative body. Inez maintains active certifications in the public sector auditing, internal controls, and risk management, and has earned a master's degree in accounting and financial management. She participated as a member of the Board of Education's Citizens Advisory Council for 5 years prior to becoming a board member. It was in this capacity that Inez became interested in becoming a catalyst for change within our school system.
Good afternoon, and thank you for that introduction, Ms. Chapelier Thomas. I personally want to thank each of you for your virtual attendance today at the Superintendent's State of the Schools Luncheon. I look forward to this event each year because it is a mini celebration of the wonderful students here at Calvert County Public Schools and the exceptional staff that grows young minds into successful adults. At the typical in-person event, at this point in the ceremony, you each will be looking forward to the amazing lunch prepared for your palates, while listening to the musical ambiance being created by our talented choral students. Well, the pandemic has dampened our ability to be in person this year, but it has not dampened the ability and resilience of our students to pivot to new surroundings and to navigate to new barriers, all in a quest to showcase their talents and find their purpose. So thank you for supporting them. Research and data has shown that the involvement and support of families and community members in student learning has a positive impact on students by increasing academic performance and by creating advocates which promotes success, an impact which helps students feel more confident in school and more confident in taking more rigorous classwork. The support you provided today, in the past, or will provide in the future, no matter how big or how small, whether it be monetary or just freely giving of your time, that supports, champions, and enhances the creativity, the engagement, and the academic progress of our students. After you hear Dr. Curry's State of the Schools address today, I ask that you call a friend, call a neighbor, and call a family member, or call a local organization, and ask them to join you in supporting Calvert County Public Schools. As you know, the proceeds from today's event goes to the Calvert County School Foundation, which has only been successful because of the generosity of committed supporters within our community. The Board of Education is beyond grateful and thankful that each of you find it important to give to an organization which strives to continue to improve the quality of education here in our beloved home of Calvert County. The Board of Education thanks each of you for your generous support, dedication, and for joining us to solidify your commitment to the students and staff of Calvert County Public Schools. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ms. Claggett. It is my honor to recognize the 2020 Educational Support Professional of the Year, Mr. Timothy Conti.
Greetings. My name is Tim Conti. I'm the Educational Support Professional of the Year. This award is a tremendous honor and blessing, and it's motivated me to just work even harder to help support the students and staff at the Career and Technology Academy. We're one of the few buildings that are able to have students in to do their learning. So one way that I support the staff and the students is I go into the electricity lab and the HVAC lab, and I assist the students with staying socially distanced and wearing their masks, and just ensuring and helping to keep everyone safe. A second way that I help support the kids at the CTA is I check in with multiple students online. Many students are struggling with the online learning. So when I check in with them, I give them words of encouragement or just ask them how their day is going. And then I help them get caught up on their work or maybe email teachers to get them the necessary help that they need. I know this pandemic has been difficult on a lot of people, but we're going to get through this together. So just continue to stay safe, wear your mask, and be blessed. Peace.
We will now turn our attention to the Culinary Arts Kitchen, where our students are beginning the preparation of the Calvert Fresh Box.
Hi, my name is Talia, and I'll be preparing the bolognese sauce for you today. As you can see, I already have the pancetta bread already in the pot in olive oil. And we have vegetables that are carrots, onions, and celery. We will put this in a pot so it can be better for flavoring for the bolognese sauce. After the vegetables are cooked, I will then be putting beef into the pot as well. Across the kitchen, you can see something sweet.
Hi, my name is Casey, and today I'll be showing you how we prepare our apple dumplings. The apples are partially cooked before we shape and bake the dumplings. Once we make and cut the dough, it gets filled with the filling and shaped into the dumpling shape. We give it a nice pinch on all the corners to make sure it's nice and secure. These are part baked here and ready for you to finish at home. Over here, you'll have Patrick showing you how to make pasta at the pasta station.
Hey there, I'm Patrick, and today I'm working the pasta maker to prepare your fresh radiatore pasta. This machine mixes and pushes the pasta ingredients to a specialized shipping plate, as you can see right here. By the way, since your pasta is fresh and when it gets cooked, it will take at least half the time as the same dried shape. And I'll see you soon for the next step in putting this fresh dinner together.
I would like to thank the following local businesses for providing the contents of the Calvert Fresh Box. Grass-fed beef from Sassafras Farms in Huntingtown. Farm fresh eggs from Farming for Hunger in Prince Frederick. Mixed greens from Farming for Hunger in Prince Frederick. Tomatoes, cucumbers, apples for the homemade apple dumplings, fresh herbs, and Parmigiano Reggiano cheese from Chesapeake Bounty in St. Leonard. Cookies from Dreamweaver Cafe in Prince Frederick, and our Calvert Fresh bags from Prince Frederick Graphics in Prince Frederick. It is my honor to recognize 2020 Teacher of the Year, Caitlin Fregiletti.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Fregiletti, and I am a health and physical education teacher at Calvert High School. I am honored to be named Calvert County Public Schools Teacher of the Year for 2020. There's no doubt that this year has taught us a lot about education, instructional practices, and making meaningful connections with all of our students. I've had to find new ways to develop and maintain these authentic relationships with my students from my home to theirs. I've planned intentional opportunities to incorporate social emotional learning and a mindfulness practice in every single one of my lessons. I'm humbled by this experience, and I am incredibly proud of all of my students and the personal growth that they've done over the last year. I hope we take this opportunity to recognize the value in developing the whole child so that we can move in the right direction by finding a balance between academic rigor and student health and wellness. We cannot let this opportunity pass us by. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Please welcome our superintendent, Dr. Daniel D. Curry. Dr. Curry has been the superintendent of Calvert County Public Schools since July of 2014 and was recently named 2020 Superintendent of the Year for Maryland. Dr. Curry is originally from Fairmont, West Virginia, and served as the superintendent of 3 counties for 15 years. He then spent another 11 years as superintendent of schools for the Lake Forest District in Felton, Delaware. His community affiliations include serving on the Board of Friends of the Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum, the Calvert Community Foundation, and the Calvert Family Network. He is a member of the Harriet Elizabeth Brown Commemoration Task Force and a former charter member of 2 new Rotary Clubs and the Rotarian of the Year. He is also former executive board member for the Delmarva Blood Bank and the United Way of Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Greetings. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Curry, Superintendent, Calvert County Schools. Now, we are once again presenting the State of the Calvert County Schools message to our community. We think it's a good way to catch you up on what's been happening. It's especially a good way to communicate with our business community. Today, we're going to take a look back at what has been one of the craziest school years ever. We'll update you on our progress. We'll look ahead to our future. Now, as always, we are grateful to our sponsors. The proceeds of your sponsorship help to support the work of the Calvert County Education Foundation. So, first, much thanks to our platinum sponsors: Exelon, Education Systems Federal Credit Union, Community Bank of the Chesapeake, William Richmond Incorporated Roofing, Siding, and Windows, and our silver sponsors: ServPro of Calvert, Benthic Telesis Incorporated, and Calvert Library. Our bronze sponsors: Carrie Polk Insurance Incorporated. And friends of the foundation: Pam Cousins, who happens to be Vice President of the Board of Education. We also want to thank those who supported the preparation of the meal, which is a part of this message today. Thanks to Sassafras Farms, Farming for Hunger, Chesapeake's Bounty, Dreamweaver Cafe, and Prince Frederick Graphics and Printing. We want to make special mention of a school board member who passed this year. Mr. Bill Phelan served as a member of the Calvert County School Board for more than 23 years. He was president of the school board in 2020 and passed this summer. He is greatly missed.
Thank you, Dr. Curry. We will now go back to the kitchen and see what course our Culinary Arts students are currently working on.
Welcome back. So now that we've finished cooking the meat and vegetables together, we will now be adding the red wine and tomato paste. After we're done stirring this for about 2 to 3 minutes, I will then add the tomato sauce. After the tomato sauce is in, you turn down the oven so it can go down to a simmer. And after all this is finished simmering, I will then put in the seasoning. All of this will cook for 2 hours until I'm ready to put the finishing touches on it.
So over here, while the dumplings are cooking, I'm getting ready to make some herbed focaccia bread for dinner. You're gonna take the garlic butter spread with the herbs from Chesapeake Bounty and spread it across the bread nice and evenly. Get a nice thick layer. When it cooks, all of that butter is gonna melt right into the bread, and it's gonna give you a nice garlicky taste. These are gonna cook with the dumplings. And they'll finish at the same time.
The fresh pasta is ready for a short dip in the boiling water. Remember to add a strong dose of salt to the water. While that cooks, just enough time to dress and toss the fresh greens for today's salad. You have 2 dressings for today's salad and from the Calvert Fresh Kit today. Some croutons. And then some of the dressing right here. Give it a quick toss. And always remember, at the end of your salad or when you're done making it, you can always add any of your favorite garnishes to customize your salad.
So let's go back to March, almost a year ago. We were advised by the governor and the state superintendent that all schools needed to close and everyone needed to work from home for 2 weeks. So we got ready to come back at the end of 2 weeks. But at the end of that 2 weeks, they extended our break further. Well, all activities were canceled and we were doing our best to maintain school on an online basis. And I can't say enough for all of the people who contributed to us doing a good job. Within the first 2 weeks that we were out, our instructional staff and some of our teachers put together content and training to help our teachers prepare. Our IT department distributed laptop computers and special equipment as needed. Our building service workers, they reported every day and cleaned and scrubbed and disinfected every time they could, as deep as they could. And I want to give a special thanks to Donald Canode and the staff of the Child Nutrition Department, who saw it that students still had access to food. I want to give a special shout out to End Hunger, a local food bank that worked with our staff to make sure that students who couldn't come to our grab and go food handouts still had food delivered to their home. Can't say enough about that. We focused especially on seeing that those students who depended on school to get nutrition still had what they needed. And since that time, thanks to some more liberal rules from the USDA, every child from age 2 to 18 has had access to meals at no charge, from our grab and go programs to what they could be picked up at school once we started school in the fall. Still, when you depend upon federal reimbursement, it's not enough to pay for the food that was distributed, and so the county had to contribute a great deal of money there to keep things going. But there were other funds that were available as well. So in the summer of 2020, we not only had summer school, but we were making plans for the fall. And most school districts around the state of Maryland were preparing to bring students back in what is known as a hybrid mode. That is a smaller population in order to be able to maintain distance. However, Calvert County School Board, just like school boards all over the state of Maryland, weren't sure that that was a good idea. So the decision was made to go all virtual. We did our best to plan for an all virtual start. We had grant money from 2 pockets from federal government. One was called the ESSER grant, and it provided more than $1.1 million, and it was used for materials of instruction like digital licenses and transportation for elementary school. We had CARES tutoring allocation, which helped pay for summer school for both elementary and middle, some of their materials and some of their transportation. But that wasn't the only thing that happened in the summer. We can't forget that we were 4 years into the construction of Northern High School. And this is a great shot of the completed Northern High School complex. It took 4 years from building a classroom building, then tearing down the old building, then building on that site. It wasn't an easy task, and we can't say enough. It is a LEED Silver rated school, which recognizes the sustainable practices used in construction of any new building. Calvert County also gets recognized regularly for a 95% rating from the state of Maryland on their maintenance and effectiveness report. We take good care of your school buildings. Also, in the summer of 2020, we completed what was a major safety goal, and that was an improvement on the vestibules of several of our schools. These vestibule improvements caused us to be able to steer any visitors who come through the first door through the office, where previously they might have entered straight into a school hallway. Now they must all check into the office. It called for some pretty creative construction, and we finished these jobs at Huntingtown Elementary School, at Northern Middle School, at Mill Creek Middle School, at Patuxent High School. They did a great job. Also, we can't go out of the building mode without talking a little bit about Beach Elementary. We're going to build a new Beach Elementary, and it has been approved by the state. This is an artist's rendering of what it will look like, and we're going to build it on the same site as the present Beach Elementary School. It is going to be upwards of 3 stories high and would make good use of the beach-like community with lots of themes related to beach and the natural community around it. So this is our initial design for the new Beach Elementary School, which was our next priority for new facilities. We have been approved by the state for their share of the funding, and we're excited to perhaps be able to break ground in the coming school year. So, we started the new school year in virtual mode. Laptops were issued to all students, and we were lucky in that we were prepared. Calvert County was going to be an all virtual, or have a laptop in the hands of every 3rd through 12th grader this school year anyway. We hadn't planned on pre-K, K, 1st grade, or 2nd to have laptops, but we were able to catch up and distribute those as well. So our new school year, these numbers are kind of hard to see, but I want to point out some of the changes that happened when we started the new year virtual. Many parents decided to homeschool or enroll in private school. And as a result, our enrollment dropped by almost 700 students. Now, that wasn't unusual around the state. The same thing happened. Parents decided to, in our case, we had 1,000 new applications for homeschooling. Now, our drop of only 700 would suggest that had they all stayed with us, we would have had an increase in enrollment this year. But still, we had a loss of enrollment, which can affect our funding. I want to also point out that we had an increase in the total percentage of students on free and reduced lunch. In previous years, our number of students on free and reduced lunch was around 17%. This year it was 22.5%, a significant increase and perhaps reflective of what has happened to a lot of our families. This shows our attendance. We take attendance even though we're all virtual. We take attendance even on days that are considered asynchronous days based upon what the students are doing and what they're logging into to work on their various digital platforms. And attendance has been good, more than 92% in most groups all across the county. We also offered in-school instruction. We have several special programs where regional special education program and other programs where the students just couldn't do much online and needed to be brought in for some face-to-face instruction. We also have programs in the CTA, our Career and Technical Academy, because many of those programs, those students will not qualify for their professional licenses if they don't get enough hours hands-on in their programs. So we were bringing students in both for many of our regional programs, many of our special programs, and many of our vocational programs. We also have students who could not connect to the internet from their home. No way, there's cable and even hotspots in many parts of our community do not get a good signal and would not be worthwhile. So we had more than 180 students who regularly come into our internet cafes. Transportation is provided, and we are even open for their access on many of the Fridays when other students are working asynchronously. We started early with a monthly survey of our parents. We wanted to know what they were thinking and how things are going and their feedback. We surveyed at the end of September, the end of October, at the end of November, and the most recent survey was the end of January. And of course, there was much enthusiasm about that survey, so there were more than 6,000 responses to our first survey at the end of September, and more than 4,000 to our last survey in January. Generally speaking, the response has been positive in that live online sessions engage my child in learning. Most recent response has been almost 65% of the parents say that the live online teaching is engaging to their children. Has your child demonstrated any increased emotional concerns? Yes, we know. 35% of our parents responded that they have concerns with regard to their child's emotional development. Now, going from more than 500 and some students in September and October, we started making plans to go hybrid. Hybrid is a way of bringing students in for face-to-face instruction, but still maintaining that 6-foot distance. Generally speaking, we have found when parents are asked, we have approximately 1/3 choosing to stay home and all virtual, and 2/3 choosing to send their children in on hybrid. We take those 2/3 and we divide them into a group A and a group B, and therefore you've got A week and you've got B week, and you've got those students who are V for all virtual. Of course, when you're going to be bringing more teachers and more students in, we had to especially pay close attention to air quality. We need a good exchange of fresh air in all of our classrooms, any place there are students and teachers working together. And it depends upon the size of the space and the number of students and teachers in that space, what kind of equipment. Now, in our newest schools, the ventilation HVAC systems were just fine and provide plenty of fresh air. But in some of our schools, we had to invest in additional equipment for air purifying and air cleaning. Here are just a couple of examples. And they're just also examples of what we spent on PPE. So we spent more than $174,000 in FY20, which closed out in July. Now imagine that was, we didn't have that many students in school. We just had a few staff around in school. But we bought masks, we bought signage, we bought plexiglass, we bought a lot of things to prepare us for bringing staff back to school. And in FY21 to date, we have spent more than $1 million on personal protective equipment and for a variety of purposes. We also got a contribution of $175,000 from the Calvert County Health Department. So we announced we started hybrid in November with pre-K through 2. We were able to bring in Group A for a week and Group B for a week, and then we shut it down. The numbers were starting to increase, and our Board of Education had some concerns. In December, the Board of Education gave approval for us to start back in January in hybrid mode. But when we came back in January, our positivity rate had skyrocketed to what was typically around 5% to as high as 14%. And we had to wait for those numbers to go down. But eventually, we were able to release this schedule that you see here, and we've been able to stick to it. So as of the recording of this message, our K through 2 students have been in for 2 weeks and have started their 3rd week just now. And today we started with grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now keep in mind, this is actually the first day of school for almost a year. Sixth graders have never been in their middle school, and many others are new to their school. So we are going slow. We have approximately 8 to 10 to 12 students per classroom, and our teachers have worked hard to make it work. Here's one of the things that helps them get the job done. We spent almost $1,000 per classroom teacher on new equipment to help them be able to do what's called concurrent teaching. And if it sounds very difficult, it is. Because what happens is they teach the children who are in front of them in their room. At the same time, they look into the camera and teach the children who are home. They have different lessons at times for those who are at home than those who are in front of them. Obviously, there are some things, depending upon what you teach, that just can't be done virtually, that can only be done in person, and our teachers are excited about that. I personally have visited a couple middle schools today on the first day back, and teachers were excited and students were excited, though a little bit more quiet than normal, but I think they're going to get their feet under them. This new equipment includes a docking station, a second monitor, what's called a hover cam or document camera that does a lot of extra things, and a cart that can be moved about the room. And you can see in this picture that a teacher not only has their laptop, their second monitor, but the smartboard as well, makes a third monitor. And many of them use it in a lot of creative ways. Here's just a couple of pictures of hybrid instruction. You see everyone is spaced out, everyone is at a great distance, at least 6 feet. For most of the time, everyone is masked, everyone washes hands and maintains proper distance. Here are a couple of other examples. You can see sometimes they have those students who are home are projected up on the smartboard so they can all speak. And that particular picture that I took, the students were giving a greeting and all saying hi. Those who were home saying hi to those in the classroom, those in the classroom saying good morning to those who were home. You see also that masks do come off when you eat. Students go to the lunchroom, pick up their breakfast, pick up their lunch, they return to their classroom, they remove their mask, just like in today's restaurants that are open for dining. As long as they're dining, they can remove their masks. I want to touch briefly on our strategic plan. Many of you know we have 5 priorities to our strategic plan, and even though we have been in a very different mode in the schools, it doesn't mean they haven't been important. So first is equity. We have continued with our mandatory staff development and training with regard to equity. We have had numerous book studies, and we have especially focused on Stamped, a book called Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You. Our curriculum instruction department continues to review the materials that we use so that they are representative of all culturally responsive instruction. Student outcomes, this one, not so much. Student outcomes has generally been measured by our progress on the state test. Last spring, the state test was canceled. This spring, we will have a state test, but it will be different than last year's and the previous year, so it will really be a brand new test. So we have done a number of other things to try to monitor student progress. Last year, we introduced what's called the MAP test. It's given in both English language arts and math. It's administered in the fall, in the wintertime, and again in the spring. So even in our first year, last school year, we were only able to get the fall and winter assessments done. This year, we've done fall and winter assessments, but as you can imagine, those have been virtual. So we're not sure that how reliable the data might be for informing our instruction, but we are pleased with the progress that we are seeing. We also invested in gifted and talented education this year. We are trying to improve our identification process, spread the net wide so that we don't miss any students, no matter where they come from. And many students have been identified with this new assessment and receiving special in-group education and opportunities as a group in the older elementary grades. While we're talking about our Calvert County Education Fund, our gifted program was even the beneficiary of one of the foundation grants and it helped with the STEAM to Stars and Girls STEAMs project. And we got another grant from another foundation that helped with some of our artificial intelligence with the Naval Air Station at Patuxent River. So we're trying to expand our opportunities for the gifted and talented students as well. Priority area, climate and culture. Our best that we could do for climate and culture this year was a huge investment of specialized people. The Board of Education insisted on increasing the number of school psychologists hired in our budget for this current school year, and as a result, we hired 5 additional school psychologists. We hired 4 psychologist interns. We hired a couple of more social workers, and we were able to hire a couple of more guidance counselors, all in an effort to try to contribute to the opportunities of our students when it comes to their social and emotional development. We know that perhaps we haven't got the best bang for as we might if all the students were present, but everyone has done a great job of reaching out. Telehealth is very big. One-to-one counseling is something you can do virtually fairly successfully, and we are proud of that investment we made. Workforce. Always on the lookout for the best teachers, including hiring more minority teachers has been a goal of the Calvert County Board of Education for several years. We have continued with that goal. We have offered scholarships to our Teachers Academy of Maryland students for several years now, and this year hired our first graduates of the TAM program who have been scholarship recipients. Here you can see that of 98 professionals hired for this school year, we have 40 of them were brand new. 20 of them were CCPS alumni. 4 of them were TAM grads. Generally speaking, our minority student, our percentage of teachers who are minority is 9%. Our new hires were 11%, so we made some gains there. We recruited from DC and from Delaware and from Florida and all of our neighboring states, and we can't say enough about the job our HR department has done in these difficult times. We've done some things also that will help us continue to attract the best and brightest teachers. We completed negotiated union contracts with our CEA, which is professional staff, which are CASE, which is support staff, and with CASA, our administrative staff. All back steps, which was a problem several years ago, have been fulfilled now with our new contracts. So all of the salary schedules are caught up, and this is a big deal. Our beginning teacher salary is at $50,500. It ranks 4th in the state, and so it's important for everyone to know where do new teachers get the highest salary. Our master's level teachers with 10 years experience will earn $69,678. That ranks 3rd in the state. And our masters at the maximum number of years experience can earn up to $99,253 for teaching. These are great competitive salaries, and we think they will continue to help. We also changed the salary schedules for those positions that we have had difficulty filling and are always very competitive. For as long as I can remember, speech and language pathologists have always been short, and we have managed to change how we compensate them and offer additional funding for speech and language pathologists, for school psychologists, for social workers, for audiologists, for occupational therapists, for physical therapists. This new salary will enhance our ability to recruit for these positions. Additionally, we are pleased with the salary changes we could make for our education support staff. We approved a $1.10 hourly flat rate increase across the 2019-20 schedules and the 2021 schedules. This increase will help us move more quickly to meet the minimum wage requirement of $15 an hour. And a salary step increase was also given in our agreement, which means all of our salary steps have been restored. We also have a priority area in community engagement. For community engagement, it involves using you, the business community, to help give our students as many opportunities to learn about the real world as possible. It involves more volunteers and involves more community connections. Most recently, thanks to the vaccines that have been made available from the Calvert County Health Department, we have had the opportunity to see that all school employees who wanted to get a vaccine could get a vaccine. At this point, several hundred of our staff have had their second vaccine, and the others will be scheduled soon to get their second vaccine within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And we can't say enough about the cooperative relationship we have had with the Calvert County Health Department, how much they have worked for us, how much they have provided supplies and materials for us, how much they have been supportive of getting children back in school. Finally, a little bit about our budget. We have just presented in the last month what's called the Superintendent's Budget. It is a preliminary budget for the next school year. Because we have lost enrollment, we have asked our county commission for funding at a level equal to this year. And our state funding appears to be headed in that same direction. But we're going to need to use some of what's called our fund balance, our savings account, to make ends meet. And we think that's why you have a savings account, a rainy day fund, if you will, because we want to be able to keep all the staff and all the positions that we normally have to start the new school year, because we think we will be back in full force with enrollment. Our new budget as well includes new additional digital resources, additional print resources, additional textbooks, updated program for Project Lead the Way, engineering and biomedical, resources for gifted and advanced learners, and resources and manipulatives for elementary students. So what happens next? Well, we're going to predict that we are likely to close this year in hybrid mode. We're due to have everyone back in full hybrid starting March 8th, all middle and all high school students. We're going to have some sports and some activities return. Still, masks and distancing will be the rule. We've been advised that we will have the ability to do some COVID testing ourselves at the school level, which will be helpful whenever a student shows with some symptoms, and we might be able to make a quick diagnosis. And we will continue to plan for the summer and to plan for the fall. So, what's it going to look like in the fall? Well, I wish I knew. You'll hear many people make a reference to learning loss, and indeed we are concerned about what students might have not been able to get done in this given year. But we will have several grant funds available to provide a variety of summer opportunities to catch up. But I also like to say, we didn't learn anything from this, then we weren't paying attention. We have learned a lot, and we hope that we can apply it in the future. We don't want to come back to what we used to have. We want to come back to something better. We want to use the tools that we put together for our virtual learning, the equipment, the investment we made in digital resources, and make the classroom experience even deeper and more meaningful than ever before. We don't want to bounce back. We want to bounce forward to new school district, a new way of doing school that everyone can appreciate and that will make Calvert County continue to be one of the best school districts in the state of Maryland. Thank you for your participation today. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at curryd@calvertnet.k12.md.us. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Curry, for your continued leadership and unwavering support of Calvert County Public Schools. Our students in the kitchen are excited to share their final component of the Calvert Fresh Box.
The salad gets tossed together last and served first. To give it a little bit more flavor, you add some cheese and some croutons to it. And then once you're done with that, I'm going to hand it off to whoever's next. Next, our ratatouille pasta is drained, and I toss in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil.
We are going to ladle the bolognese sauce into the finished plate. Some of you will get stuck in the nook and crannies while some may roast it. I like mine with a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Next, we finish the plate off with a slice of freshly baked garlic herb bruschetta bread. And don't forget to save room for your delicious desserts.
It is now my honor to express gratitude and thanks to our wonderful sponsors. Without all of you, the Calvert County School Foundation grant would not be possible. Our platinum sponsor, Exelon Generation. Exelon has continued to support Calvert County Public Schools in numerous generous donations. Our partnership continues to grow through programs like the Nuclear Science Week and the NEED Project. Our platinum sponsor, Educational Systems Federal Credit Union. Calvert County Public Schools is grateful for the relationship that we have with Educational Systems Federal Credit Union. They provide sustained support to our students, teachers, and schools in our system. We look forward to all future initiatives that provide opportunities for collaboration. Our platinum sponsor, Community Bank of the Chesapeake. Community Bank of the Chesapeake is an integral supporter of the Calvert County School Foundation grant. They pledged $50,000 over 4 years to support the grant. Their contributions have allowed many teachers to turn big ideas into classroom reality. Our platinum sponsor, William Richmond Incorporated, Roofing, Siding, and Windows. William Richmond Incorporated is a new sponsor. We are so thankful that our new partner has taken interest in supporting our school system. We look forward to years of collaborating. We want our students, teachers, parents, and community to recognize the continued support from them. Our silver sponsors, Benthic Telesis Incorporated, Calvert Education Association, Calvert Library, ServPro of Calvert County. Bronze sponsor, Carrie Polk Insurance Incorporated. Friends of the Foundation, Calvert County Public Schools Board of Education. We also want to thank our sponsors that purchased the Calvert Fresh Box. We had over 165 people that purchased the meal boxes to support the foundation. Again, our sincerest gratitude and thank you to all of our sponsors. This concludes the 5th Annual Superintendent's Luncheon. We look forward to a bright, beautiful, and prosperous year with everyone that is a part of the Calvert County School System's family.